So everybody, welcome to Multifamily Masters. For those of you attending for the first time, I'm disappointed that you haven't attended before, but we'll let you guys slide. So for those that don't know, basically Multifamily Masters is really about having a community, right? We started this obviously pre-COVID, and really the vision was to kind of enable and build local chapter leaders that are kind of all building and marching on the same brand and really helping enable them to be leaders within their markets. And at the same time, right, we're all kind of connected and kind of building on each other. In this post-COVID world, right, we kind of had to pivot a little bit while we wait for the world to kind of hopefully go back to normal. And with that, right, we shifted to more of an online strategy for the time being. And that's kind of where MFM Live was born, which is the event that you guys are all attending. And so currently, Multifamily Masters itself, we have about close to 60 chapters across the country. And I don't know if anyone has really started local meetups back up, right? I've seen people do park things and things like that, but we're hopeful kind of sometime next summer things can go back to normal. But in the meantime, right, we'll continue to do these MFM Lives. And so today is actually the last one of the season, right? And we will start back up again in January, right? We figured with kind of Thanksgiving and holidays, plus our upcoming event, the MFM Express, we figured kind of this probably made sense to be the last one for now. And so with that said, I am one of the hosts kind of helping put this together. My name is Feras, for those who don't know me. I have a company called Disrupt Equity. We have properties throughout Texas and Georgia. And, we've done several deals, kind of full cycle, including Georgia, including Texas. And it's actually one of the deals that I'm going to talk about here today, a little bit later today. We are vertically integrated. We have our own in-house management company that is also doing third-party management and continue to grow that part of the business. And so with that said, I will pass it over to one of my partners, Pal Chi.
Appreciate it, Feras. Thank you. So real quickly, my name is Powell Chi, live in Los Angeles here. And all of my multifamily investments have been out of state. So that's something that, I don't know, just for me, it was a big step to realize that you could invest outside of the state of California and still live inside of California. And so all my investments have been in areas like Indianapolis, Dallas, San Antonio, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Phoenix, things like that. And then, like when I think about this group, I think like, has anybody felt like they were wanted to find a group that they're interested in? They're interested in multifamily, trying to find this in a multifamily investing group where they could learn and they could network and they could share experiences, right? I mean, I think that most people would say yes, right? That's why you've come here. And that's exactly how I felt a couple of years ago. So I was looking for other people who were in a similar position that I was, that they have similar interests, but also kind of a similar mindset. And so I started Multifamily Masters a couple of years ago to create a space for all of us to, because I couldn't really find the right group. So I ended up just kind of starting my own. And then, and I'm sure you know that like, you can all like invest on your own, and you can find the deals on your own. You can scrape up the cash on your own. You can do all the operations on your own. You can do a lot of stuff on your own. But in multifamily, you'll find that like if you do all that, you'll run out of time, you'll run out of money, and you'll have a hard time scaling. And so really this group helps facilitate the idea that multifamily investing is really a team sport where you can partner with a lot of different people. There have been many partnerships. I wanted to go back one time and just try to figure out how many partnerships have actually come about from Multifamily Masters, but there's been way too many to really figure that out. And this just kind of is a organization to facilitate that networking, that growth, that education side to help all the investors kind of come together, whether you're from California, you're in Indianapolis, you're in the Midwest in Chicago, you're in San Antonio, or you're in Florida, that there's a way for us to all connect and to invest together, as long as we can sort of come under the same mindset, similar interests and things like that. So that's a little bit about us and kind of who we are and a little background about us. And then just to kind of make a little plug, like Feras kind of mentioned, we do have an event coming up December 14th, which will be our, every year around December, we like to hold something a little different, kind of to wrap up the old year, kind of usher in the new year. And this year, what we have is called Express to Success, okay? And it's December 14th, so it'll be on a Monday. It'll start at 5 p.m. It'll go to about 7 p.m.
Pacific.
And it's Pacific, yes, Pacific. And it's going to be 15 speakers who are all from a wide variety of interests. And I don't think there might be one person that is going to speak about multifamily investing. See, of the 12 months of the year, we spend 11 months talking about multifamily investing, but we're going to spend this 1 month to talk about all different types of things that can help you grow as a person, can grow as your mindset, can just be educational, can be fun, can be just very interesting, interesting topics. And they're all 5-minute blocks, 5-minute presentations of 15 different speakers, kind of a rapid fire live stream that we'll be having. So we want you all to join. We'll be putting out some information about it pretty quickly. It's free. We want everybody to invite your friends and everything, and look forward to that. Yeah, so Leonie just posted our event right there. So feel free to respond to our event right there. We'll be posting more information. Thanks, Leonie. And
you guys should definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. It really is action-packed, dense, and it's about a big variety of topics, right? Like Kyle mentioned, not just real estate, learn all sorts of different things. We'll slowly start to sleek what the titles are, right, for the presentations. But you guys check it out. It should be kind of a fun 2-hour section. If anyone has ever been to Ignite talks and presentations, really, it's kind of based on that theme, right? Really kind of a bunch of different topics, really dense. And usually in Ignite, it's, you have 20 seconds per slide, and the slides are changing regardless of how fast or not fast the speaker's going. So highly recommend it. Definitely go check it out.
Yep, absolutely. Go ahead, Feras. That's for me.
All right, then I guess with that said, so for those of you that are joining, if you don't know what our topic is today, really the topic is about talking about kind of full cycle deals, right? And not just doing the same thing we always do, maybe big deal and just call it a day. We figured we'd do 2 different types of deals, right? And so I'm going to talk about one of them. It's going to be a 99 unit deal in Atlanta that we went full cycle on last year. Yeah, I guess a little over a year ago. And we also have another guest, Steve. And I know I saw him on. I know you're on. Stephen will talk about a smaller deal that he did in a different market, right? And you can kind of, it gives you a chance as a listener and a viewer, right, to compare and contrast the pros and cons, the challenges encountered and not encountered, and help you kind of get a taste of maybe is it a fit for you or not, or kind of what you may like. And so with that said, Stephen, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first? You let me know.
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to. Let me do that. Let me share my screen.
Right, you might go ahead and introduce yourself, and maybe at the end you can drop your contact information if anyone wants to reach out to you.
Let's see here. You see my screen?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go. All right. Let's do this. So I cannot see anybody now that I have my PowerPoint up for some reason, but so are you guys able to see this?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, hey, Kyle asked me on Friday and said, hey, I thought Kyle was actually hosting this, but it turns out it's you two. So I'm glad you guys gave a great introduction there. So I follow a lot of the actual principles that you guys have, and really excited about this opportunity here to kind of join this group here. Let me give you a little bit. I put together a quick agenda here for us. I'm going to go through some introductions about myself. I think it kind of lays out about me, and then my real estate journey, and then really about the acquisitions which Feras just talked about. Then open it up for Q&A, and that could be after Feras goes too. Let me just give you a little bit of my background. First, let's start with my family. So my family, I'm married for 26 years, and have 2 great girls, beautiful girls. My oldest is a junior at Chapman University out here in Orange County, and my youngest daughter she is a senior in high school right now. And so we just went back hybrid last week, and so we'll see now that we've just gone purple. She showed me. We'll see what happens if she comes back to all live. So kind of tough during the COVID environment, but making the best of it. I am a chapter lead for the North Orange County chapter, and that's with Jenny and Ronnie Gu, and then Baskin. So all 3 of us work closely together and have built a pretty strong chapter in North Orange County, and we're pretty excited about that. I think a couple of them might be on here. Here's the great news. I'm exiting corporate America at the end of this year, and so really excited about that. I spent, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey in multifamily that led up to where I am today. Just a little background about me. I started as a group underwriter in the health insurance side, and Did that for about 4 years and realized that it's really hard on an internal position to actually make the kind of money that you need to invest. So I actually moved over to institutional sales. So worked for MetLife for about 16 years, all in sales, in a sales capacity and sales leadership, and highly successful on that, which allowed me the opportunity to kind of move over to a consulting firm. So I'm a partner at a global consulting firm. We do all types of consulting on the human resource side, health, wealth, and human capital. My current single family home portfolio is about 9 doors right now. And my multifamily, about 2,500 units from a general partner standpoint, key principal and LP. From a GP perspective, general partner, I have about 800 units, just to give some context there. Invested in Arizona, California, Ohio, Tennessee, and Texas, predominantly focused right now in the Arizona marketplace. Let me, and these couple boxes help kind of line everything up in terms of how I got into multifamily. So, you know, back in May of 2017, I actually went to a meetup, and I'm not the type of guy that typically likes to go to meetups, but actually met one of my partners there, Vaskin, and we actually had a similar portfolio of single family homes. He had done some research around multifamily and did some reading. Said, hey, you need to go to a couple of these seminars. You need to listen to Old Capital, the Old Capital podcast, right? And I think a lot of you may or may not have listened to that yet, but it's one of the better ones, in my opinion, that really gives a lot of facts and also talks a lot about loans. So it got me hooked on that. And then one thing led to another. And he said, hey, there's a great mentor out in Texas. We should go check it out. And then we ended up being me. I ended up going by myself. He instead went on vacation. And that's where I actually took the opportunity to really get engaged. I signed up for a professional mentor in Dallas, and the sky has kind of been the limit. It was called Race to Retirement, and you can retire in 3 to 5 years. And what it did is, just like Powell said, you do have to shift your mindset if you want to get into this arena and set goals, take action, and really start establishing a real strong network of investors. And that's what that enabled me to do, kind of get out of the mindset of single family homes, which is really an individual sport. If you think about it, single family versus the multifamily team sport, which Powell mentioned as well. I learned all these different things. So just so you know, I spent an entire year underwriting deals without actually even putting an LOI, right? So it didn't work, right? So I had a team of like 4 different people, and we were too conservative, and so we wouldn't even put out an LOI. I know you guys were talking about LOIs at the beginning, so I had a bunch of underwriting for the entire year, no deals, and that was in the Texas marketplace. But the good thing about it, I was able to invest passively with individuals from a key principal standpoint, which gets you kind of your gold card with Freddie and Fannie, and then helped me to really align and identify my focus, right? Texas was pretty saturated for Dallas for me, living out here in Southern California. So I took the opportunity to take everything I knew and apply it in the Arizona marketplace, right? And so all the things that you'll hear about, what we'll talk about is you have to have a strong relationship with the broker, the brokers there. Your property management is key. You have to have a syndication attorney and a transaction attorney. You need a banker, a loan officer, and you need someone to help you with construction. So, you know, took a week off work, met with a whole bunch of individuals. And then as you can see, the last bullet here, acquired, what is this, probably 430 or so different units across the board in Arizona. And so the 2 of them that I wanted to highlight, and I can just highlight one as well, is Urban Oasis and Serenity. Those are the 28 unit and the 35 units. You probably know Kyle and Gary through different things, and I am a GP on a couple of the other deals, the 34 McDowell and the Midtown on 42nd, actively involved in those. And we got 2 more that are pending that will close by the end of the year. Everything looks solid on those, between a 26 unit and a 176. And so that gives you a little framework of how I set the stage in terms of getting into some of the property that I'll talk about next. So this is the first one here in Phoenix, Urban Oasis. So a heavy value add, as you can see, 28 units, 24 twos and 4 ones. Really a C class property, maybe a C, yeah, probably about a C. The property itself, as the condition is, maybe a C minus or so. Huge value add, you know, 1979 construction. As you can see, the interior there, right? Pretty, you know, dated across the board. Not the, you know, holes in walls, Formica countertops, carpet, etc., leakage on the walls. So it was a great opportunity for us to step in, you know. And I'll take a quick shot here. This is what we transformed it to. So this is before. You can see the cabinets. This is after, right? So with the hard work of working closely with the property manager, the construction team, fully revamped this into basically a B plus A minus, or probably an A looking property. And by doing this, we were able to increase rents from what it was 500 to now close to 1,100, right, across the board. So by forcing the appreciation on this, as you can see, we added washers and dryers as well, and a complete rehab. We no longer have carpet in there. We originally went with carpet because the property manager suggested that we do that to save some dollars, but that just, as we know, sometimes becomes gets quite dirty during the move out. So I think we're doing all vinyl plank now, and the stainless steel package there. And this happened to be one of the models that we had open as we're going through construction. So as they started with, you know, 3 to 5 units, we moved people out, and one of them was designed for just a model, and this was the actual model.
Not like you.
Stephen, really quickly.
You treated me like dirt.
What's that?
Ferris, can you mute?
I'm sorry, I can't see
Yeah,
anybody, but yeah. What's
Okay.
that?
So, hey, Stephen, I just wanted to highlight what you said.
Yeah.
You said that when you entered in, the rents were 500, and now they're up at about 1,100.
Yes, that's correct.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah,
so-
that's awesome. I mean, it looks great. It looks fantastic here and everything. And I'm sure with the new flooring in the bedrooms, that probably looks even better. But yeah, very cool. Awesome.
And one of the key things is building a relationship with the brokers, right? So at our last meetup, we just had CBRE in there, which ironically, I've done all my deals with CBRE. So I think 4 deals with CBRE. So one of the things that I've learned is you need to focus with the larger brokerage houses, and this is just me, right? And what you get from them is a more sophisticated broker, in my opinion, right? And this first deal here, they said, hey, it's I think I actually have some of the details on the next page. Oh, here's what we did, right? So here's what we did, and I'll get into that. I'll hold that comment there. So put washers and dryers inside, so automatically that's going to be raising the rent from $50 to $75. It already had air conditioning in there, so clean some of that up. Stainless steel package. We even added a dishwasher in there as well. Probably not necessary, so maybe over and improve that, but it's just a nice feature there. The rest of the ceiling fans in every room, I think something to highlight there. And it didn't have a barbecue in the back, so we added a barbecue, some lounge seating, and then a pretty nice dog park in the back as well into this small 28-unit property. If you take a quick look, here's basically a little bit of a summary of what was done. So we bought this at $85,000 a door in 2018. All the value add that I just talked about, right there, you can kind of see that, and really helped us to reposition the property. Rents now, like I said, Pal, was right around 1,100. Here's the great thing about this as well, from a cost segregation standpoint, just on this small property, $1 million of bonus appreciation, right? So we had a cost seg done, and over $1 million came. If you're a real estate professional, it's not a tax thing, but you can take advantage of a lot of the depreciation to offset any of the earned income. And then just recently, in less than about a year and 6 months, we refinanced out at $160,000 a door, and now currently got all of our capital back, and it was just 3 partners from a JV perspective, did not syndicate this one. So we have all our money back, infinite return across the board. And if you'd like to go see our website, you're welcome to go take a look at it, urbanoasis-apts.com. And this model is slightly different than probably what some of the experts or the coaches actually teach out there. Some of them say, go larger, you need to go 60 and above. I think if you have the right team and have the right partners and have the right property manager, the right bank to finance it, and all of those items, you really can take this to the next level across the board. And then, I can go through, I had two of them. I wasn't quite sure of the agenda, but this is our second one as well, but same type of thing. We bought this one. This became an off-market deal because of what we did on the first deal. The broker said, hey, I got another one that's sitting there, never even went to market, and we were able to do the exact same thing on this property here as well. I'll be conscious of the time, but it's a 35 unit, same type of thing. Here's the outside, a little bit nicer look to it. We did a similar, we painted, we actually replaced all the windows as well. And as you can see, the vinyl plank, the washer and dryer, and then just the walkway there. A complete rebrand of everything. We exterior paint, we added dual pane windows, washers and dryers, a stainless steel package, ceiling fans, just like the other one, and a grill as well. And in this case, we are also able to raise rents from 700 to now we're close to about 1,300 across the board. So we're in the midst of a cash out refinance right now on this one, which should bring all of the general partners, again, the three of us, all of our money back, after that refinance, which should be done hopefully by the end of the year or beginning of next year. So that's a little bit of snapshot of what some of the smaller properties and the potential for some of these smaller properties and what you can do. And I'm happy to, any questions, pal? I can't see you right at this stage. I'd be happy to answer them.
Sure, not a problem. Hey, and I think, so we'll probably get to all the questions at the end. We'll probably save all the questions for both you and Feras at the end. But if I know a couple of you have written questions in the chat, continue to write some questions in the chat as you looked at these.
Or I got it.
Yeah, you got it first. Okay. So continue to add your questions. We'll get a chance to ask them after Feras presents to be either both Stephen and Feras, and then we'll so just continue to add them there. But we'll go ahead and let Feras go ahead and do his as well. All right. Thank you, though, Stephen. That was awesome. I mean, basically, a lot of that is what people are looking for in terms of how to do it, what they did, and as well as the exit as well. I mean, that's very impressive. So awesome. Go ahead, Feras.
All right. Give me 1 second. All right. So Stephen definitely showed me up on the presentation. So I added a few more slides because I was going to keep it pretty quick. But Stephen, great job on the presentation. Great slide deck. And so I figured, I was like, all right, I'll tell a little bit more story. Maybe I was going to keep it quick and right, but I'll go ahead and let's go share this.
Yeah.
So
I think the people want to hear some details. That's all right, Feras. So we'll get some details in because people want to hear it.
All right. I don't want to bore people, but let's get this going. So all right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep, it's coming up right now. Yep.
All right, so I'm going to keep it quick because hopefully most of you know me, but for those that don't, I have a background in software. I worked at Microsoft, and really, I left Microsoft with the vision of building software in industries like real estate that don't have a lot of tech people at it. There's a lot of tech people working in smart problems at tech companies, but not enough go to other industries. Long story short, kind of fast forward, I did build software in real estate and kind of found out about real estate investing, fell in love with it, especially syndication. And it's the things I like. It's a people's game. It's a numbers game. It's a system game. It's an operation. So all the things that I like, and I've since learned that it's really more about leveraging the things that are normal in the tech world to kind of combine things and really make us more competitive. And so really, really brief, kind of the company, really Disrupt Equity is kind of the parent company. We do have other brands and partnerships that we've been continuing to build out. And so I'm just going to skip over those. But before I get going, this is the deal I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to be candid. I'm a candid guy. I like to share my thoughts and feedback. So please don't make any big, important life decisions based on it. Go talk to your professionals. Steven is probably a good professional to talk to. Pal's a good professional. Talk to those guys. Don't talk to me about anything big in life change. But no, I'm kidding. Go talk to your attorneys, your accountants, etc. So with that said, I'm going to talk about this deal, right? Woods of Decatur. I'm going to kind of give a little bit of the background of the deal. These are pretty much the nicest shots that you could possibly find before we bought the deal. So it looks great, but trust me, there's a lot more kind of beneath the curtain, I guess. And really, this came from our actual presentation of this investor presentation. This is what we pitched, and I'm going to go through each of these things. But ultimately, investors went in with the mindset of doubling in 5 years, right? We're putting about $900,000 into it and getting about 10% average cash on cash. And I'm going to go through kind of the bottom three things here shortly. So I'm going to skip over those. And actually, hey, Pal, let me here. So let me just admit people. All right, keep going. So, you know, the really kind of going in, right? The things that you're looking at, and I apologize for the jankiness because I did combine two slides, but really, you know, you're looking at market rents, right? What are the two? What I love about this deal, it's all 2 bedrooms, all 3 bedrooms, right? We have nice quality units, and it's about looking at what is the market doing, what is occupancy doing, and, you know, do we go for the high end rehabs or do we go for a mid tier, right? And ultimately, you're looking at data. And so, you know, in addition to that, right, this story, what made this story interesting is that this was a deal that I remember, you know, I flew out to Atlanta and looked at 2 deals, this one and another one. We ended up offering on both of them. We didn't win the other one, but this one we won because most people were scared of it, right? This property had 9 down units, and it was just, you know, it was a deal that was essentially in an okay area, but poorly managed, right? It's a deal that you're not comfortable walking around, that you definitely don't want to walk around at night, right? But the area was fine. We saw what was happening in terms of the proximity, and we knew that this deal was purely a management play, right? That the people that currently owned it did not know how to manage, right? They are very much people that, or lack of a better word, poor boyded. And the kind of the proof in the estimate is really the 9 down units were down because essentially one of the buildings backed up to a hill. So this property is 199 units, so about 10% of the units were down. One of the buildings had essentially been built on a hill, and the backside of the building, right, there's 9 units, and they were basically sitting beneath the terrain. And so there was essentially, for all the sewage, would get pumped into a septic pump that would have to then pump over and into the city sewer. And so you would think, okay, this has got to be an expensive repair, because these were down to the stud and had backed, the pumps had failed and had backed up to the stud. Had backed up in the units, and they ended up having to demo everything to a stud. And so, you know, we had budgeted in doing about $400,000 of all the work, right? And I'm going to go through what we ended up actually doing here shortly, right? So it all looked good. You know, we got the LOI accepted, so we figured we'd go on site. And this is really what we saw, right? And actually, sorry, this is before I got the LOI accepted. And, you know, there was potholes, there was damages. The deal was ugly. And the other thing I experienced is in Atlanta, it's almost always raining whenever you tour a property. Don't ask me why, but it just seems to be the case. 9 times out of 10, it's raining in Atlanta. So, you know, we knew this deal needed work, right? And, you know, from being on site, I learned a couple of things. The property management clearly didn't know what they were doing. Their on-site manager had literally disappeared right before the tour. Never, you know, she just got up and left. Maintenance guy was happy to just show units, was not happy to actually work on maintenance. He spent the whole day with us if he wanted it to, right? There was the pump station issue that I mentioned. And the deal itself needed a lot of rehab, more rehab than I had initially estimated, right? That $400,000 was not going to get enough done for a 99 unit property. And so, and on top of that too, right, there was a plot of land right across the street that you could see that they were about to start developing. And so that was, you know, like you could see something was happening, wasn't very clear, right? And so we're going to admit a few more people. All right. And again, the surrounding area really wasn't that bad. We saw that basically, and I'm going to show this on a map here shortly, that again, if you go west, right, so downtown Atlanta was west of us. If you go west, every intersection was improving better and better, right? And so, you know, we get back, we're like, all right, we can make this deal work. And so you start to pencil it, right? It's all about the numbers, people. Don't fall in love with any deal. Don't fall in love with locations. So on this deal, we really had to go from $400,000 of rehab to $900,000 of rehab. And we adjusted our offer from 4.2 million to 3.8 million, right? Because that was where the deal had to get done to work. And so, you know, that's literally a screenshot of our LOI. way back when, our old template, but it got accepted, right? The broker called back. There was a little bit of back and forth. We weren't the highest offer, right? But we had a good, 21-day due diligence and kind of kept it quick. We knew, and to most people, I tell them is really, why ask for 30 days due diligence if you don't need it? 9 times out of 10, I know within the first 5 days if I'm buying the deal or not, right? Very rarely is there anything that's going to continue on. So after a little bit of negotiation, boom, LOI accepted, right, on this deal. And so then that's where we went back on site again, right, and doing our DD. So first, before we did that, you did the PSA, earnest deposit, you do the walkthrough of the property management company, start to really line up everybody that needs to get out there, right? It gets really, really busy to kind of plan it. But now we end up going out site, and this is a picture of me and Ben. So Steven had his picture, right, the obligatory due diligence picture. This was pretty much, Ben's my partner, and this was after he warmed up to the deal, right? For him, he was not used to as rough of a deal.
Well, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but can you slow up? You're going too fast. You're going from slide.
Sorry, all right, I'll slow down. So this was basically a obligatory due diligence picture. It was essentially after, we first got out there, I could see Ben was kind of tense. He's like, all right, what are we getting ourselves into? But once you get in, you start to dig into it, look at the numbers, you look at the units, you realize that, hey, this can work, right? And so that was that picture. And really, let's talk about now what made this deal attractive, right? So we are the red dot right in the very center, right? To the west of us is downtown, and you can see there's Walmart. To the east of that, you can see that they're basically a vacant building that was purchased, 100% vacant for more than we were buying our deal for. And the person ended up putting another 40,000 a unit into it and made it essentially a B class, right? And that deal ended up selling for 125,000 a door. We bought our deal for 39,000. And I'm going to go through the numbers in a little bit later. South of that was essentially a brand new office development that was going up. Then there was us and a brand new development going across the street, and as well as the deal right across the street had been fully occupied for 2 months. Our deal, people, on paper was 80% occupied on paper, right? We ultimately ended up bringing it down to 40% because it was totally not 80% occupied. But again, if the deal across the street had a wait list and fully occupied to where we couldn't even tour a unit, that tells you something, guys, right? There's demand in the area. It's just purely a mismanagement play. And I like those kind of plays. Right, so here's really what we presented to our investors. Right, this is what we went into the deal expecting. This is what we modeled. And if you notice, we really modeled it as a year 3 refi, right? For this deal, we did what's called bridge debt, right? Bridge people get scared of because it's not the sexy agency debt, but bridge is the tool that you got to use correctly. So essentially with agency debt, right, Steven, I'm guessing yours were Freddie deals probably? Fannie? Agency?
No, actually, ours were we used the bank, so
okay.
I had to build a relationship with a bank. Right?
Got it.
And,
so on the bigger deals, right? If it's stabilized, typically you get Fannie, Freddie, what we call agency debt. This deal was not stabilized. Like I said, had 9 down units already. The agencies wouldn't even touch it, let alone it's 80% occupied. Again, another strike against it, right? So we did Woods Bridge. It's kind of the tier down below hard money lenders. And on this deal, honestly, we had the bridge lender from hell. That's another story for another day. Right, but we, that allowed us to buy the deal and get our business plan going. And so, if you notice, this is kind of what we presented, right? We modeled it as an 8% exit cap, and people were expecting to get about 42% in 3 years with the refi, right? But let's talk about now what happened during the deal, right? We literally took it down from 78% to 55%, and actually economic was 40%. So 55% physical, 40% economic occupancy, right? Trust me, people, whenever you're operating at 40%, occupied, it's stressful. You are in the red. You are in the red, losing money each month after month. And, if you have a bad bridge lender, they know that too, and they're trying to get you to default. Long story. So, we really had to work this deal and manage it tightly, right? This was an operational play. We didn't have to bet on getting amazing looking units like Steven had and getting that rent pop, right? We just had to get units online and clean up the property. Let alone then the rent pops came later, and that also helps juice the deal, right? On this deal, again, we brought security and literally had them lock down the property, implemented a curfew, checked everyone that was coming in and off the property to where all of the bad elements knew that, hey, this is not the property to mess with, right? They knew that they're not going to be able to come and deal and do whatever they were needed, right? And ultimately, we ended up pushing rents as we improved the property. Immediately, we started to really get that income back up, get the occupancy back up, right? So we quadrupled our total cash collected in 4 months, right? It was amazing. I mean, we literally went from, I think our low was 27,000, and then we got up to $100,000 in 4 months, right? And you turn a community from being a bad area or bad deal to being a place people really cared about, right? We, first we clean out all the bad elements, then we started to build it into community, doing tenant events, putting in playgrounds. And what's nice about it is the people that stayed through that really appreciate it. They love it. And they start to tell you about the bad people too, right? They have sense of community, sense of, pride of ownership and living in a property, which makes it really a complete night and day situation. And so ultimately for the people that stayed, I mean, they were super thrilled and, they saw what had been done in the property, right? And really in this deal, basically start to finish 18 months. We lost a lot of hair in the process, right? But ultimately our investors did really well, right? 80% total return in 18 months, which, almost doubling their money in a year and a half, which is, almost 50% IRR, right? And kind of continuing on, let's see what else we got. Right, here was the stats on this deal. So we raised $1.1 million, right? It's one of our first deals, smaller deal. Purchase price was $3.9 million. We sold this deal for $7 million, right? Imagine if we were able to come in, cash, right? I mean, we literally collected on $1.1 million, we made $2 million, right? And again, that's paying all, that's net, everything all in. And so again, people, there's different types of plays out there, right? Steven had more of I'd say a traditional, it's a functional property. It's about going in, making it nicer, pushing the rents and collecting more, right? And continuing to operate it effectively. There's value add deals, which is like ours is, I'd say, a deeper value add deal, which is cleaning out the property, turning it around. And then there's even deeper. I've seen people that'll do fully vacant properties. We haven't done that. That's not really, I don't think I'd want to do that, right? It's different strokes for different folks. But again, what I tell people is be opportunistic. It's not about one size fits all. I know a lot of people think it's only this, but be open to it, right? We weren't expecting to do this kind of deal, honestly, right? But we saw the opportunity. We knew the returns were there. We modeled it out. And, we decided, hey, let's go for it. And ultimately, it also had the added benefit of letting us get into Atlanta, right? It was our first deal in Atlanta. And really, to what Steven was saying, get to know the brokers. I remember we were doing due diligence at this property, and the broker came out that sold us the property. We asked, if you have anything else come for sale? He said, well, I have this one deal coming up. We just got the exclusive on. It'll hit the market in a month and a half. And I remember on the way back to the airport, Ben and I stopped at the property. We toured the deal. We drove it. We're like, man, this deal's a steal, right? And I remember on the airplane ride, we modeled the whole thing. We landed back in Houston that night, and we literally submitted out an offer the next day, right? We got the first peek at that property. And that's a property that we still own today. I love that property, right? And so again, talk to your brokers, get to know them, and especially in the bigger space, right, where, I'm talking 90 units and up, every deal goes through a broker one way or another, right? As a seller, I would say it's negligent for me to not use a broker, right? Now, it doesn't mean that it has to get blasted to everybody, but I know people have this there's this common myth of off-market. Oh, it's an off-market deal, as if no broker knew about it. No, it's not off-market if I've seen the deal too, right? I mean, it's not like it's a secret space. It's ultimately about having trusted brokers. They know you can perform. They know you can close, build those relationships, and getting one of the first few peaks, right? I've had many times a broker calls me and said, hey, I'm showing this to you and 2 other people. Here's the story. Here's what's going on. Seller has this price. Do you want it? And we actually bought one of our deals that way as well. So a different deal. So again, it's all about relationships in this business, whether it's partners, whether it's brokers, whether it's lenders, whether it's mortgage brokers, insurance, et cetera, right? This business is all relationships. And that's ultimately why we started a big part of Multifamily Masters. It's all about networking. And that's it. So Q&A. So I guess I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and let's just go ahead and open it up, right? If anyone has any questions, let me know. Let Steven know. We'll go ahead. Pal, you want to moderate, and then we can go ahead and answer questions.
Yeah, there's a bunch that were in the chat, but my computer had to reset, so I lost all of them except for like the last 2. So we have to.
All right, I'll moderate myself. I'll give Steven the really hard questions, and then I'll take the easier ones. All right.
There's some good questions in there though. So yeah, take a look back at.
All right, so I'm just going to kind of scroll back. Let's see. So how do you manage a complex that's this size? Now, that was a question to you, Steven.
How do we? So you hire a property manager, and during the rehab, we actually had an on-site person. So instead of them renting, instead of paying us rent, we just actually had them stay there, and it actually helped watch over the property while it was under construction. And now that it's fully stabilized, we've moved that individual out, and the property manager just manages it like they
And so,
would.
Stephen, have you had issues? Have you had issues with management companies doing 20-ish units, or has it been pretty? Have you been blessed, I guess, with a good management company that's been able to kind of, because that's just that spy where it's like too big for a regular management company, too small for multifamily company, right?
Yeah, no. I think what you have to do is, like you said, it's all about building your team. So, well, it really depends on, you got to find the right property manager. We actually had to switch our property manager 2 months in to the acquisition of it. So it was not easy, right? So 2 months. So the first property manager gave us all the strategy, said, here's what we can do. The strategy was great. The execution wasn't there. We had to move to somebody else, move to somebody that was more of a mom and pop. They did a lot of residential. So they were able to push that up there, and they had all the construction in-house as well. And so it's building that relationship. They said they could do it, and we've had a successful relationship on these two properties. Would I recommend them for a 99 unit property? Probably not. No, but they really can play in that niche. So really take the time, understand your property manager, understand where they play, and then you can use different ones and build that relationship. It's really about the team, like you said, Feras.
All righty.
Yeah, it's super important in that size for sure.
Very much so. Yep.
All right. So let's see. So can you cover what's a cost segregation at a high level? So for those that know, right, your house, you're able to depreciate it over 27 and a half years. Now, with an apartment complex, right, not everything ages at the same time. The stove lasts a lot less than the wood in the building, right, for example. And so what a cost segregation study is that literally you're paying a third party to go in and segregate everything and break it down into different functional blocks that depreciates over different time periods, right? Now, with residential, right, you could do that as well. Most people don't do it because there's a cost to actually getting that study done. Whereas with multifamily, that cost is a pretty minuscule amount. And so most people will basically do it on the multifamily side, not as much on the residential side, but you can do them in both. But what it allows you to do is really get a lot more depreciation at the beginning, right? Now, in addition to that, right, what there is currently is there's something called bonus depreciation. So not only can you front load your depreciation on the front side, you can also get what's called the bonus depreciation. You can request year one. And what that lets you do is, again, get even more of a premium on depreciation. Now, all that said, right, on a typical investment on a C-class property, we typically see for a $100,000 investment, you're getting about $60,000 loss year one, regardless of if the distributions or not, right? Now, the caveat to everyone, right, is that is getting recaptured at some point. Talk to your professional, right? But essentially, you can keep deferring your losses for a long time. That's essentially what happened with Trump, right? He didn't pay taxes because he had a lot of real estate losses. And if you know how to work it correctly, you can also get that benefit. So that's my maybe long, short answer to that. Let's see. So one question, again, I think, Stephen, this is probably during whatever you were presenting, which is, do you recommend doing all rehab upfront or phase in and finance with cash flow from the property? With smaller properties, can you support property management?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough. So one of the key things, you have to build a relationship with someone to finance all this property. So I was able to get a bank to finance all of the rehab up front. So they paid the 75% upfront loan to cost, and then I paid the 25 on the back end, right? So my money didn't have to come out right off the bat. That's not typical, right? So just building a great relationship. Our team actually had a little bit of net worth to it, so we were able to negotiate some of that back with the relationship. Had a really tough time. I live in Southern California. Extremely tough time finding someone to actually finance a property for us because we weren't local to Phoenix at the time. We had someone take a chance on us, and now we have a long-term relationship with that bank, right? So yeah, we chose, hey, at the end of the day, the original property manager that gave us the business plan said, you have to rehab, you either rehab all of them or you just rehab like 20% of them and leave meat on the bone for someone else. We chose to do all of them, and it worked perfectly in terms of where we needed to be. And it was the market probably may have helped us, as well as the forced depreciation and getting a better tenant base in place. I don't know if I answered the question. I think
I don't think you did. And maybe the other caveat too, right, for people is with bridge debt, right? Another thing we can do is we can get a lot of the rehab baked into the loan. With agency, there's different regulations and rules around between Fannie and Freddie. But again, a lot of times you can put a chunk of that in the loan And the way that works is typically you're giving that money to the lender, they're holding onto it in escrow, and you have to deal with a really painful process to get that drawn. But essentially you can have money sitting with a lender, and as you do the work, you get third party approval, basically submit the request, they send someone out, they verify the work I've done. It's really a big paper chase, and unfortunately, it takes a lot longer than expected. So for me, my personal new rule of thumb is moving forward, I typically will not let the lender keep most of my rehab budget, right? Because it ends up getting in a cash crunch. And that's the problem with these deals, with these bigger deals, is it becomes a cash play, because if you essentially have to spend $500,000 to get a lot of work done, and then you send that to the lender, and the lender takes 2 months to approve it, well, now you're just kind of waffling, right? Waiting to get that money out. And so nowadays we try to keep maybe only half of the lender. I won't give them, most of it like I used to. And again, different for different things.
COVID now, they hold, I think, a 12-month reserve on some of this, right? So reality, 12 months is all held. And
we just did a refi 3 weeks ago, and it's exactly that. We have 12 months of P&I, not just, even if it's interest only, the full P&I payments for 12 months have to sit in escrow, and you can request that after 9 months. Yeah. So in 8.5 months, I will be sending an email to the lender to get that money out, and that'll be a huge distribution back to our investors on that deal.
And so what we also did is we did a 75% loan to cost, and then so you built in some of the rehab dollars in there, just like you described. But when we refinanced, we didn't go with an agency. We actually went with a bank. That bank was a non-recourse loan as well. So same exact terms, but much easier in terms of the process. I mean, the forms, as most of you may know, to fill out on Freddie are stacks and stacks. I'm going through them right now, right? So it's a lot of different forms that they require, and a lot of check the box. So if you can
find, if someone's looking for a problem, and if someone's looking for a problem to solve, go start a lending company that has the best servicing department in the world. Because literally, we've had many different lenders. Servicing is always a very painful part of the business. So I promise you, we'll send a lot of business your way, and I'll make sure you get more business too. So let's see, that was that question. Next question, was the cash out refi done after the reno? What was the benefit if you end up with a bigger loan?
What's the benefit with a bigger loan? Well, you're able to cash out refinance. So that's the difference that you get. So we cashed out over $1 million, right? Tax free. That's the nice thing that's what I really like about holding a property too. So you can pull all that money cash free, and it goes all to your investors as well, cash free. So I thought that's like a return. Plus, you don't get taxed on it. So it's like a return of capital, right? So.
Yeah, we have a bad tendency of selling, but then, you get kind of do the taxes. So.
But our original business plan was to sell, right? And sat on the market, and people were just a little iffy on it. And then we refinanced, got all of that cash back. So we have nothing. So in essence, all the investors have nothing in the deal, which means it's an infinite return. So every dollar that comes in is just profit for the investors.
All right. And we'll do probably about 2 more questions.
Sure.
We're at the bottom of the hour. So let's see. The next one, I think, is to me. How long do you need to suspend preferred returns to LPs? On that deal, there was no preferred return. That was actually before we added preferred returns to our deals. That was an 80-20. And on that deal is really no cash. And what we modeled was no cash the first year, right? And then, we ended up selling it at the 18-month mark on that situation. Let's keep going then. How did you find out about this deal? For me, that was really, I was searching around, that was a smaller brokerage. It wasn't the really big national broker. It was a smaller broker that, not as big as the CBREs or the Cushman & Wakefield. And so that was one that I found, more, I don't remember how I first came across it. Maybe someone sent me something, or I was searching and really got to know them, built out that rapport, and, that led to the deal. And then let's do one last question. When you remodel units, is it always a third-party contractor, or have you ever had the property management company handle it? Steven, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, for us, we had the property manager actually handle that, right? So they have a whole construction arm, and that construction arm allowed us to save a little bit of money as well, and we could watch over them as well. And during our weekly meetings, we'd have checkups, and the property manager would have the construction piece, and then the property management side on the calls.
All righty. Perfect. Well, then let's go ahead and call it a wrap. So thank you very much, Steven. Really appreciated it. I think that was informative, just a different kind of presentation. I liked it. And for those of you that have never been on our calls, right, we do a breakout session at the very end. And so what we'll do is really, again, like we mentioned, like I said, like Steven said, multifamily is all about relationships. getting to know people. And so what we like to do is basically split the entire meetup into groups of about 8 people is probably what we'll do. And, you know, really gives you a chance to get to know somebody new, hopefully, right? And so definitely stay for the breakout, right? And get to know the people. We'll do maybe about a 12-minute breakout, and then we'll kind of call it a wrap at the end and come back. And so with that said, everybody, Pal, anything else you want to add before I go kick off the breakouts?
Nope, I think we're good. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go ahead and get these going.
Got a haircut, huh?
I did.
Well, that's
I
a
did.
0 right there.
Right before. Yeah,
Good.
you're
I
right.
gotta do that, I just cut mine myself as a.
Yeah, I just did it. Like I just did it an hour ago. Yeah.
That's a 0 though.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right, well, hopefully you all got to enjoy that, right? Like we said, networking is important. Get to know somebody, right? Go meet somebody, learn something new, go share something that maybe others don't know. So I guess with that said, right, like I said, we look forward to seeing you all again in January. Today was our last one for this season. We will start again in January, and, you know, we'll go ahead and keep this open, right? So, you know, I'll leave. I'm not going to close it out. So feel free to network. I know there's definitely a group that likes to do the after party. So you guys are welcome to stay, chat, and talk. And with that said, you know, I'm going to go ahead and call it a wrap. Pal, you got anything else to add?
Yeah, just real quickly, the last couple things are just, again, the Express to Success. Sign up for it. We're looking forward to it. It's a great event that we're putting out there. So December 14th, 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific, free event and a rapid fire live stream. So we think it'll be a great event for you guys. Second thing is, if you're interested in our mastermind, we do have a couple more openings for our mastermind. So if you are interested in your mastermind, feel free to just ping Feras, ping myself, ping Bethany, and we can help you out with just kind of maybe some of the questions that you might have and kind of set you on the path if you're interested in joining our mastermind as well. Okay. Other than that, that's good for me.
Also, you could save the chat if you guys want to. There's down in your lower right, there's 3 dots. So if you're all the people putting their information in there, if you click on it, the 3 dots, you can do a save chat and you can save all that information.
Yep. Thanks, Jeff. Good info.
All right.
All right. I appreciate everybody. I'm going to take off because I'm going to eat
so.
dinner. Yeah, I'm going to eat dinner, but
Same.
see you guys.
Stick around, everyone.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.